Something that's really fantastic about working at British Vogue is that young British people love to jump on a trend. You know, they love the idea of transformation and transformative style. I'm Julia Hobbs. I am the fashion news editor at British Vogue. We live in a throwback-obsessed culture, and one thing I'm seeing today is a revival of daring, decadent, new romantic styles. The new Romantics and Blitz Kids turned up in 80s history when Leicester Square was a disposal bin. Kids coming from suburbia and reinventing themselves against the odds is a British speciality. I want to know how these style movements were born and how they keep inspiring today.
I used to be able to stop traffic quite easily by just walking down the street.
People don't spend hours in front of the mirror to look awful. They dress up because they look nice.
People do want more fantasy. Like, let's add a bit of colour, let's add a bit of our own personalities into it.
Dressing up and being fabulous, transport you elsewhere.
Everybody around us meant nothing, so we had to create our own system, our own world.
From club to catwalk to our high street, British fashion has always been a playground for experimentation and dressing up. To find out how a club night can trigger a whole style movement, I went to meet original Blitz Kid and master milliner Stephen Jones.
It was Steve Strange and Rusty Egan, and they had the idea of taking over a club for one night. That had never been done before. They created this club called Billy's, and it was Bowie night, but it was just a magnet for everybody. You know, after the vacuum which was left by punk, people wanted something which was, I don't know, more tangible and more positive and more sort of freaky and more about dressing up. And David Bowie, for all of us, had been a huge influence.
Did you ever see him at Billy's?
No, I don't think
Did he ever go?
I don't think he ever went there. He went to the Blitz Club, and,
right.
You know, we all sort of thought we died and gone to heaven.
Who were the characters?
I mean, there was Steve, of course, but then Boy George, before he was Boy George, was the cloakroom boy there.
Was he the cloakroom boy?
But, yeah, at the Blitz, yeah.
Oh, my God. So, wait, what did he wear? Did he have that look that we know him having?
Well, not the big hat, but he was sort of dressed as a nun then. So it was a nun with red eyebrows. And, of course, there was Marilyn. And, you know, they all became singers. And then there was the bands like the Spandau Ballet and Duran Duran. They were all down there, too.
Oh, no. Perfect. I know. We'll have a seat.
Stopgap. In London was a very strange place. People can't imagine that there were mounds of rubbish in Leicester Square, 40 foot high. Britain was the poor relation of Europe. And suddenly that all changed. And it wasn't, you know, we were not really Thatcher's children. But what we did have this idea that everybody around us meant nothing. That established system meant nothing to us, and we had to create our own system, our own world. We sort of looked down on people who dressed up only for the Blitz. We dressed up really every day.
Right, so you're on the number 88 bus full...
It wasn't our fashion look. It was who we were.
Well, Stephen, I can't thank you enough for letting me in, taking me vicariously on a night out to Billy's with you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
My pleasure.
We're hunting for the original site of Billy's. OK, that's 79, which is called Be Health, which definitely doesn't seem like it would be the place of a former legendary nightclub. 69, right? Of course. OK, if that's 68, must have been that. Oh my God, that's so strange. London streets are not homogenous. It's a whole patchwork of looks and buildings. People do the same sort of thing as that architectural setting. And all the different scenes as well, like the rock clubs, the speakeasies, the discos, and the members clubs that are there now. I think they all kind of melt into this weird nocturnal hybrid. The question is, how are designers inspired by this spirit today? I met with Serafina Sama of London label Isa Arfen to find out more. This is Contemporary Wardrobe, which is basically a collection of 20,000 pieces of street fashion. I guess I just really want to know what you love about that era.
I don't know, I was just interested in this feeling of fashion as escapism and of living for the night and escaping whatever reality you live in during the day and enter into this new world where dressing up and being fabulous transport you elsewhere.
Okay, this is very you.
Oh, I love a bit of Pierrot.
How cool is that on the sleeves?
I love this.
It's like every single
Merged
era that
together.
had any decadent, you know, soul to it has been fused in one moment.
Yes.
It's this idea like nothing is too much.
Yes, of course. It's on the contrary, more is more.
More is more. Yeah, more is more.
More is more. I mean, fashion, we're not reinventing the wheel, we're not saving lives. So I think what's important about it is to at least make you feel good, make you have a laugh, make you want to have some fun. And I think that was very much the spirit of that era, and that's what interested me about that time.
While Serafina's designs are all about a refined take on the era, I heard about a young designer duo who are tapping the raw aesthetic of the original New Romantics and went south of the river to meet them.
You're not inspired by that era, we kind of are a duplicate of that era.
I'm a West Country girl. I live in Brighton at the moment.
I'm from Surrey. Really boring. I'm from Birmingham, even more boring.
Coming to London, at least for most of us, also had massive influence on our work and on the kind of things that inspire us and the things that influence us.
If you're surrounded by that group of people that whenever, even if it's just if you go out once a month and you see those people, it kind of is enough to spur you on to push it a bit further each time.
Undone is quite...
I found all these old Blitz Kid documentaries, and particularly Marilyn, who was like this Marilyn Monroe lookalike. It's like 10-second shot of her on a train with the hair like billowing in the background. It was just absolutely amazing. Really drove forward a lot of what we were doing. Even things like that coat are so attached to that whole like almost Hollywood-esque style of glamour, but recreated in like our kitchen.
It's sort of pushing the realms of everyday dressing up. Is that something you feel is happening now, like we're returning to this kind of decadence and flamboyance?
No, I definitely think so. I think that people do want a little bit more fantasy in their lives. You know, post-Brexit, you know, it's like, let's add a bit of colour, let's add a bit of our own personalities into it. And so, I mean, we definitely want to do that when we get dressed up and we go out there into the world. And sometimes it is a bit of a bubble, like you're just living in your own fantasy.
It acts as a bit of battle armour as well, doesn't it? Like, coming from someone that's not always been the most confident of people, it really helps if you have something good to wear.
And once you start to express yourself, it does then act as like, this is who you are, and you can go out there, and everyone in London has their own alter egos and personalities, and like, you know, are working with those ideas.
Thank you so much. Eden, thank you so much for letting me into your world. Have a good night. I feel like London is having its moment all over again. This, after all, is a city where there are no limits on what you wear. These 80s club nights were the original catwalks, and it's interesting to see designers paying tribute to those clubs that no longer exist. What's exciting now is where the next generation will take us. I'm not sure about those guys.